Hello and welcome back to Nursing Essentials. In this video, we'll discuss the basics of one of the most amazing organs in the human body. The heart, at its core, is a pump, which is why we call it the hardest working organ. It starts pumping when you're a fetus, at about 8 weeks old, and it pumps all the way until the moment you die. The circulatory system, also called the cardiovascular system, is an organ system that permits blood to circulate all around the body, from the brain to the legs and back to the heart to be pumped out again. Think about it as a superhighway that helps with oxygenation, the transportation of nutrients such as amino acids and electrolytes, fight disease with the help of white blood cells, stabilize temperature and pH. It consists of the heart and the blood vessels running through the entire body. The heart is a muscular organ located in the center of the cardiovascular system. The heart is responsible for pumping blood through this network of arteries and veins that we call the cardiovascular system. Every day, 2,000 gallons of blood are pumped by the human heart in order to maintain homeostasis or balance. The typical weight of the normal heart is about 250 grams, which is what you would find in younger adults. The adult heart size is about the size of a clenched fist and can weigh up to 350 grams. Remember that well-trained athletes can have much larger hearts due to the effects of exercise on the heart muscle, which is similar to the response that you get on skeletal muscle. The heart has incredible power and stamina, beating over 70 times every minute to pump blood. That's an average of 100,000 beats a day and 3.5 billion lifetime contractions. Yeah, that's a lot. The heart is hollow, divided into 4 chambers. It is composed almost entirely of muscle. It is located in the middle of the thoracic cavity in a region called the mediastinum. It rests on the central tendon of the diaphragm, which we could say makes up the floor of the thoracic cavity. It is flanked on either side by the lungs. Because the heart is between the lungs, the left lung is smaller than the right lung and has a cardiac notch in its border to accommodate the heart. The left lung is divided into 2 lobes or sections. The right lung has both more lobes and segments than the left. It is divided into 3 lobes, an upper, middle, and a lower. The arteries carry blood away from the heart. The systemic circulation is a part of the cardiovascular system which carries oxygenated blood away from the heart to the rest of the body and returns the oxygenated blood back to the heart. Veins are blood vessels that carry blood towards the heart. Most veins carry the oxygenated blood from the tissues back to the heart, except the pulmonary and umbilical veins, which both carry oxygenated blood to the heart. Veins are less muscular than arteries and are often closer to the skin. Pulmonary circulation is the movement of blood from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart. From the right ventricle, poor oxygenated blood is pumped into the left and right main pulmonary arteries. Note that although they carry poor oxygenated blood, they take the blood away from the heart, which is why we call them arteries. The oxygenated blood then leaves the lungs through the pulmonary veins, which return it to the left heart, completing the pulmonary cycle. In this case, although they carry oxygenated blood, they bring the blood into the heart, which is why we call them veins. The largest part of the heart is usually slightly offset to the left side of the chest, and it is felt to be on the left because the left heart is stronger and larger since it pumps to all body parts. The heart is divided into two main types of cardiac cells, the electrical cells and the myocardial cells. The electrical cells, or the cardiac pacemaker cells, carry the impulses that are responsible for the beating of the heart. The cardiac muscle cells, or cardiomyocytes, are the muscle cells that make up the cardiac muscle, which is the moving or working part of the heart. Electrical cells make up the conduction system of the heart. These cells possess specific properties. Let's take a look at the properties of pacemaker cells. Automaticity, which is the ability to spontaneously generate and discharge an electrical impulse. Excitability is the ability of the cell to respond to an electrical impulse. Conductivity is the ability to transmit an electrical impulse from one cell to the next. Myocardial cells make up the muscular walls of the atrium and the ventricles of the heart. They also possess specific properties that leads to proper mechanical function. We find contractility, which is the ability of the cell to shorten and lengthen its fibers. Extensibility, which is the ability of the cell to stretch. The cardiac cycle is divided into two very important parts. Number one, diastole, which is a part of the cardiac cycle when the heart refills with blood following a contraction. We could say that during this period, the heart is relaxed. The other phase of the cardiac cycle is called the systole, which is the phase of the heartbeat when the heart muscle contracts and pumps blood from the chambers into the arteries. If you could see an actual heart beating, it will look something like this. As you can see, the heart relaxes to refill with blood and contracts to pump blood out. Relax and contraction. Relax and contraction. This is called diastole and systole. We've just reviewed the basics of the human heart. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. We have tons of more questions and tons of more videos coming up. Hit the like button if you feel like you learned something. If you have questions, we would love to hear from you. Thanks again and see you on the next video.